Yeah, and as Chris said, there is a free version, which is great if you're just wanting to dip your toes in, see what it's like, play with the availability, play with all the tools. You can see availability for 60 days for the free version, and that's awesome. If you tend to book last minute trips, then you don't even need to really use the paid version. But there is a paid pro version, and it allows you to see availability for a year. And that is $9.99 a month. If you buy the whole year, you do save a couple months, and it's $99 a year. But we have a way you can get it even cheaper.
Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the Upgraded Points podcast.
And I'm Katie, and today we are talking about the best award search tools, Chris's possible obsession with theme parks, my trip to Greenville, South Carolina, and we're going to answer some of your questions. If you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have questions or comments for the show, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. Okay, Chris, you went to a theme park again. Where'd you go and how was it?
This was something I'd never done before. I went coast to coast doing theme parks last week. So I started off in California. I was at Disneyland for their 70th anniversary celebration. And I hadn't been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World plenty of times, but Disneyland in over 10 years. So it was a really cool experience just to get back there and see how different, but also the same it is to Disney World. But the Disney celebration, there's a lot going on right now for new shows, parades, new characters. It's very niche, but I know. But Duffy and Shelley May are big characters that are now going to be part of the Disneyland parade. So it was a really fun event. The Paint the Night parade is back after 7 years, and it was just a good, fun, lots of nostalgia for Disney and Disneyland fans. The celebration's running through summer 2026. So there's plenty of time for any listeners that want to go check it out. It's really fun. And then I packed my bags and I flew across the country because I had to go to the Epic Universe opening.
So you went to Epic Universe again? Weren't you just there a couple
Again.
weeks ago?
I was. And so I won't dive into all the details there because we already really went in depth about Epic Universe in a previous episode. But I was there for the opening celebration, which was incredible. This is a really special park, and I think it definitely deserves a visit if anyone is a theme park fan or considering visiting a theme park. And the attractions get a lot of attention, obviously, but something that doesn't get as much attention is the food in the park, which is really good. So Michael was just there as well, and he did a great write-up on the best things to eat in Epic Universe. We'll link to that in the show notes. But again, Epic Universe is so good.
So you have been working really hard the last couple
Yes.
weeks.
Working on my roller coaster screams.
Okay, well, it's safe to say, I guess you love your job these days.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
No complaints.
Very cool, very cool. So I actually had a really cool trip recently. I went back to Greenville, South Carolina, and I went there last year and completely fell in love with this town. It's bigger than a small town, but smaller than a big city. There's something about it that I just loved. So last year I stayed at the Grand Bohemian Lodge, which is a Marriott autograph collection. And it was the coolest hotel. I have a full review on Upgraded Points that I can link to. It's like if a chic lodge and an art gallery had a baby and it was a Marriott hotel, that's what this would be. It was quirky and cool, but very luxury feeling, but super artsy. There's actually an art gallery in the lobby. Just loved that hotel. So I will link to that review. So I went back. I was actually invited. The reason for my trip is I was invited by the Visitors Bureau there to go to the BMW Performance Driving Center. So that was kind of the whole reason for the trip. But I loved Greenville, so I was excited to go back. So this year I stayed at the AC Hotel in downtown Greenville. And downtown Greenville it's all surrounding this Falls Park on the Reedy, which is a river that runs through the city, and it's a huge piece of green space in the middle of the town with waterfalls and like little park areas. It's just super cool. And so what I realized after my trip is it's a great spot is especially if you have Marriott points. There's a ton of points hotels in this tiny little downtown area. And I say tiny, it's not that tiny, but it's very walkable. It's one where you don't need a car. You can go right to your hotel. You can spend the whole weekend walking around to everything you need. And it's just super cool. So there are 7 Marriott hotels within this small area.
Wow.
So there's the Grand Bohemian. I found availability as low as 44,000 points. The AC hotel that I stayed at, which is a little more simple than that Grand Bohemian, but again, super excellent location, has everything you need, as low as 30,000 points. And then there's also the Westin Point Set, which I did not stay at, but it's more of the historic hotel, smack dab in the middle of where you want to be. And I found availability there as low as 33,000 points. So it's a great place if you've got some of those Marriott free night certificates, especially those 50,000 and under, which, let's be real, sometimes it can be hard to find a nice
Hmm.
hotel for under 50,000 Marriott points. It can be done, but it's, a lot harder than finding a 100,000 point Marriott hotel. So Greenville, I think, is just a great weekend destination. If you have a couple of those Marriott certs, you can fly in, stay for 2, 3, 4 nights without breaking the bank. And right now, as at the time of recording, the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card has an elevated offer. It's kind of an interesting one. It's a two-parter. So if you spend 3,000 in 3 months, you can get 3 of those 50K certificates. And
Hmm.
if you then spend a total of 6,000 in 6 months, you can get another 50,000 points. So even with the first half of that
Yeah.
offer, you could set up a really cool long weekend in Greenville or or anywhere else with those certs. The Marriott Bonvoy business card also has an offer right now with 3 of those certs. Not quite as good as the Boundless because it doesn't have the extra 50,000 points, but it's a good
Hmm.
offer, and, I just wanted to mention Greenville because I just think it's a super cool town, and I'm gonna write a whole article for the website that details all of my recommendations for restaurants and shopping and all of the points options. There are some Hyatt options, some Hilton options. There might have been one IHG, but Marriott was the best. So I'm going to include all of that. So if you are interested in planning a trip there, I will have all of that information on upgradedpoints.com soon. Well, let's dive right into our main topic, which is award search tools. And the first one I want to talk about is my favorite. It's the one I use all the time, Seats.aero. What is Seats.aero, Chris?
Also, one of my favorite tools. Seats.aero is an award search tool, and it has a lot of features and it actually just keeps getting better. So, what I like to use it for is searching from point to point destinations, but you can add multiple airports. You can do like broad searches. So, sometimes when I'm flying from Brazil to the US, I'll just type in Rio or Sao Paulo to the US, add some dates, and it'll show me all of the options from many different programs. Um, or if I'm a little bit broader in my searches, I say, hey, I've got a bunch of American airline miles. I can search by American Airlines from North America to Asia, for example, and it'll show me all of the options on I think the free version is a 30-day calendar.
60.
60, oh, even
Hmm.
better. This
Yeah,
that keeps
yeah.
getting better.
Yeah, and as Chris said, there is a free version, which is great if you're just wanting to dip your toes in, see what it's like, play with the availability, play with all the tools. You can see availability for 60 days for the free version, and that's awesome. If you tend to book last minute trips, then you don't even need to really use the paid version. But there
Mhm.
is a paid pro version, and it allows you to see availability for a year. Which, as someone who books very far in advance, that's a super important function to me. So I do personally pay for the pro version for myself, for my own searches, and that is $9.99 a month. If you buy the whole year, you do save a couple months, and it's $99 a year. But we have a way you can get it even cheaper.
That is true. Now through June 30th, you can save 20% by on your annual subscription with the promo code upgraded points. We'll drop that link in the show notes. But that's a great way to save on an awesome tool.
Yeah, I wish we had that when I paid for my subscription because I did not get
I
to
know.
save 20% on
Me
mine.
too.
That is
But
too bad.
I paid full price for mine and it is paid for itself, hands over fist. It's easily one of the best tools that I have.
Same, and I also paid for mine myself. We do not get these tools for free if you think, because we are in this industry, we still pay for these things ourselves, and it's one that I happily pay for. When I first got it, I just paid for 1 month to play around, to see, and I found my first award that I was able to book, and I was hooked. Because I said, if I found that one flight that I needed, that was worth paying for the whole year right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Same
And
here.
I love, like you, that I can do really broad searches and I can do very specific searches. I love that I can say, show me flights from these 5 airports in the US to maybe these 5 airports in Europe. And you can really tailor it towards what you're looking for. Or if you say, "Hey, I want to fly Q suites." You can use the Q suites finder and just click on that and it will bring up either 60 days if you have the free version or a full year of availability if you have the pro version, and it's just all right there, and it makes searching for those awards just so much easier, and it's a tool that I really love. So Seats.aero is not the only award search tool out there, so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we are gonna talk about other options. And welcome back to the show. So now let's talk about some other options because Seats.aero is not the only game in town. Chris, have you used any of these other award search tools, and what do you think of them?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch, and I feel like I've tried most of them. One of the most popular ones is Point.me, and this tool can search over 100 airlines. So it's one of the more robust tools out there. And however, it's not the fastest, so it's not always my first choice. It also has a fee, but you can use it for free if you have a Built account, which is free to have. So you can search all of Built's award partners, and the same with American Express. So you could check all of American Express's award partners as well. That's with Point.me. Otherwise, you could pay $5 a day to use it, or they have the premium packages starting at $129 and going all the way up to $260 per year. So if you see some airlines on their list that you've been wanting to fly, that could be a good option. Another good tool is PointsYeah. This site is really cool because it does airlines and hotels, and it's really fast and it's free. There's unlimited searches with a free account, but there is a premium version. It starts at $100 a year, and it gives you more tools and broader searches. You can search more dates and more cities at the same time. But PointsYeah is a really nice option, as well as Roame. Roame is very similar, a little bit more polished, a little bit easier to use. This site does free live award searches, but for $110, you can unlock more tools like their Sky View, which gives almost like an overview of pretty much all award availability from certain areas. So it's a pretty cool option to have.
That's great. That's great. I've been meaning to try all three of these because I should, because I write about this stuff. I'm just so Seats.aero is the first one I started using, and it's the one I know the best. So it's
Hmm.
it's always the one that
It's
I
a good
I,
one.
I defer to. But it's great that there are a lot of options because different functionalities are going to work for different people. So that is awesome that all of these tools exist now because a few years ago, none of these existed. So it's really made searching for those awards so much
Yeah.
easier and it saves so much time. So cool. Let's move on. We have a really great question that I'm excited to talk about this week. Chris, what do we
All
have?
right. Yeah, so this one comes from Jason from our email. He asks, since the ability to transfer Amex points to Hawaiian and then onto Alaska is ending soon, should I speculatively transfer Amex points to Hawaiian even though I don't have any immediate plans to use them? Katie?
Okay. I love this question because I have the exact same question. It's something that I've been toying with. And just to make sure everyone understands what we're talking about, last fall, Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines merged and they introduced the ability to transfer points freely between those two programs. Why that's such a big deal is Alaska has a really valuable program with some amazing redemptions. But up until this point, their only transfer partner was Built. And Built is one of those programs. It works great for some people, but it's one that's hard to amass a lot of points for a lot of people if you're not renting. But now and through June 30th, you can transfer American Express points to Hawaiian and then Hawaiian to Alaska. So that is a fun little workaround to have to be able to transfer your Amex points to Alaska. Like I said, this ends on June 30th, so thankfully we have a few more weeks that you can make this decision. Now, normally, I would say 98% of the time, we do not recommend transferring your points speculatively. And that's just because, keeping your points in American Express is way more flexible than transferring them to a specific airline because specific airlines can devalue, they can change their programs, and then you're stuck with those points. And when you transfer them, you
Hmm.
can't transfer them back. So I've been debating this. And to try to find some clarity for this question, I started poking around. And I've actually only redeemed Alaska miles once, but it was a good redemption. It's actually for something that I'm flying in a couple weeks, Boston to Frankfurt on Condor Airlines for 55,000 miles and $48. So I was really happy about that one.
Yeah.
So I've been debating because while I haven't used the Alaska program a ton, I know that the value is there. So I looked just for fun. Next summer, I know I am flying to Barcelona because we're going to do a cruise that leaves from Barcelona. So I looked on Alaska Airlines and I found an option from JFK to Barcelona for 62,000 miles plus $5.60. Or I'm sorry, that was 55,000 miles plus $19 on Alaska. And that was flying on American Airlines. The price through American Airlines was the 62,000 miles and $5.60. Okay, that's great. Well, it's better on Alaska, but, it's not enough to convince me to transfer points to Alaska. I added the segment from my home airport of Columbus to JFK because it's great when you can get that all in one ticket, but it doesn't always happen. When I did that, the price on Alaska dropped to 45,000 miles.
So hold on. You
45,000.
added a flight and the
Yeah,
price dropped.
yeah. I added the segment from Columbus to JFK. The American Airlines price stayed the same. And really, that's a great. I would pay 62,000 miles for that flight all day long, but 45 on Alaska. So now to make this even a more real world example, I put in for 4 people because next summer when we're flying, it's going to be my husband, I and my daughter and my mom's coming with us. When I put in for 4 people, the American Airlines price went up to 74,000 miles, which actually is still not a terrible price, but the Alaska price stayed the same, which means I can book 4 tickets from Columbus to Barcelona in business class for 45,000 miles.
That's awesome.
And I found this on more than one date. I wasn't cherry picking, I was just kind of randomly putting in some dates, and I was shocked. So that alone kind of convinced me that I'm going to transfer some points. And just for people who are interested in maybe even saving even more and who don't care about business, those same flights were available for 22,500 miles in an economy.
That's a steal.
I mean, yeah, you can't beat that. So that convinced me I think I'm going to transfer some points over. But it's not as simple as that. You have to look at how many American Express points you have. If you only have 200,000, I'm not transferring any to Alaska because they are as good as that Alaska program is. They're more flexible in Amex, and you never know when that Alaska program can change. For
Right.
me, I think I have like 900,000 right now. So I think I can, transfer maybe 200,000 or so over, and I still have a ton of Amex points, and Amex points are pretty easy to earn. So those are going to be able to be replenished pretty easily. So that's sort of a roundabout way to answer your question. It is not the same for everyone, but this is a situation that transferring speculatively without a specific booking in mind could make sense. So what do you think, Chris? Do you think I should transfer? Are you gonna transfer? You have any
It's a great question. I don't have 900,000 points in my account. I have far fewer points. I'm debating it because I did just use Alaska points to fly to book some LATAM flights.
Mm,
But yeah, I still got a couple more weeks to debate it. It can make sense, but
mhm.
yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just the points are more flexible in Amex versus Alaska. So I think I'm probably going to leave mine there.
Yeah, I wish I had thought of this back when the transfer bonus was active
right?
to Hawaiian. I missed out on that, and I'm still a little hesitant, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do it. So I'll let you know once I pull the trigger.
All right.
But, thanks for that question, that was a really good one. And if you have additional questions or comments for the show, if there's anything you wanna see more of or less of, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com, and if you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. That'll do it for us this week, and we'll see you next week.